Hello and welcome. You're tuned into Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Shrishti Sharma and with me today is Vinny. And Vinny, of course, a good day coming in for the Indian markets because just after the fall that we have witnessed yesterday, we started on a positive news flow onto the bond markets, and now after quite a volatile session, Nifty Bank is at least showing some resilience.
Absolutely. Nifty Bank, that's surely showing some bit of a resilience over there. Even Nifty PSU Bank, that's what I would like to pull up as well first before we talk about the markets. Look at both of them. They're trading on the positive side. PSU Bank was a bit subdued in the last couple of trading sessions. So surely that Nifty Bank, PSU Bank, you're seeing a bit of a comeback coming in there. Let's look at now what the Nifty 50 is doing. Yes, we managed to open up a bit on the positive side. Then we slipped into the red. Surely recovered from the day's lowest point. As of now, Nifty is about at 19,750 levels. Keeping an eye out on that one, because we'd seen a sharp fall coming in the last couple of sessions as well. Let's look at what the mid-cap, small-cap space is doing as well. Nifty mid-cap and small-cap, both of them are trading a bit subdued. Nothing exciting. Seems like it is a bit of an underperformance coming in versus the benchmark indices as well. Looking at other sectors that are actually holding on and to good gains is Nifty Auto managing to hold on to some bit of a positive side over there. That's holding on to gains of almost 0.3% in trade. Other than that, we have Nifty Realty also keeping an eye out on that one as well. Also, let's look at what is the IT space doing, right? Nifty IT, how is that performing? Very subdued in trade. And Nifty Pharma, that's among the top sectoral losers as well, down 1.6%. So surely keeping an eye out on the markets today. We have seen a very volatile day coming in, at least when you look at the Nifty, because look at the fall that happened and then the recovery. So keeping an eye out on, how the rest of the day actually pans out. But surely, interesting day. As of now, Nifty holding on to gains of 0.1% in trade, Shrishti.
Okay, so markets holding in green for now, but with this, let's move on. And viewers, in this show, we try to answer all your stock-related queries, and we will connect with our experts. And you can connect live with us in a short while from now. But don't forget that today is Friday, and today we're going to be getting you Buy Now, Sell Now, Pathshala. And like always, let's go across quickly to Kunal Bothra, who is joining us live in the studios. Kunal, very interesting topics you have started getting for our viewers week by week. Indeed, an interesting one is what we can see on the screen. So take it away.
Thank you, Srishti and Vinny, for that. So today's topic is more of an addendum of what we discussed a couple of weeks back in the previous session, I think, Pathshala. And we for the first time we discussed something which is not available in in any of the classic books on technical analysis. That's Counter Attack Candlestick Pattern. Now, we discussed one of the important patterns. What I want to do today is just revisit that how that pattern has played out in the benchmark indices, both the Nifty and the Bank Nifty, post our session. So we look at the the first sample chart of how the candlestick pattern or counter attack candlestick pattern is. So in a ongoing strong uptrend, if you typically see the first day or a first candle which indicates a negativity, whether asset class opens up higher and then closes at the lower point of the day and tries to breach the previous green candle, we call this as a counter attack. And post that, we typically see that the pace of rally slows down, and then the asset class or the index or the stock in this case goes into a corrective mode pretty soon. We saw that exact patterns happening on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. Now this is the Nifty chart. As you can see, a very strong uptrend which is going on till the couple of weeks of September, and all of a sudden we saw the counter attack pattern. Post that, 3 days of uptick, a mild new high for the index, and post that we saw the index going to a very sharp correction. Very similar observation, we saw it for the Bank Nifty as well, where the Bank Nifty again, this is the Nifty Bank. For the Nifty 50 also, we saw a very similar pattern where the Nifty 50 formed a first major counter attack pattern, 3 days of high and then a sharp selling. This was almost a selling of 500 points on the Nifty and a 1500 points on Bank Nifty. So that's the importance of this counter attack pattern. So it's not a new topic, but then it is something which is very relevant and something which has worked very, very recently post a previous session of Pathshala.
Okay, Kunal, thank you so much for that. And as always on Fridays, explaining us these technical levels new or important and relevant is what we're watching out for. So thank you so much for that, Kunal. It's always very insightful. But what's happening today also is that Apple's much awaited iPhone series will be sold in India. That is going to be starting today as well. Now customers are already lining up at the Apple stores in Mumbai BKC, and my colleague Asta Chopra is standing by at the store to get us more details from Ground Zero. Asta, what's the buzz there? How many people are standing? What is it looking like right now?
Yeah, as we can right outside the Apple BKC store, and people are here. The place is filled with people, and we can see that people are lining since midnight. They are waiting from 4 a.m. and the sales started at 7 a.m. They are literally traveling hundreds of kilometers to get their hands on iPhone 15 this model. It has some unique features like titanium body and 120 mm of focal length of camera, which is attracting customers on a very bright side. So the people is all over the place, and the place is filled with people in the store, outside the store. They are lined up and waiting for their turns to get in.
Thank you so much, Astha, for that. So many reports are coming up that people are standing by from the night itself. They have been in the queue, and so much of excitement for this.
It's always the craziness that comes in, right, with the Apple iPhone. No matter how expensive it is, people are waiting in line since like hours and midnight and everything. It's too much to wait, but yes, actually, always the rush that increases there.
Actually, a lot of excitement for the new Apple store, and people have been traveling
Apple
to
phone,
Mumbai.
You mean? The store we were already excited about.
Yes,
before.
And people have been traveling to Mumbai to actually get it from the store itself, and the new Apple is right here, and we can see that excitement. But back to the markets then, and if you look at the Bank Nifty is trading at the day's highest point, 300 points gain is what we are seeing on the Bank Nifty index, and Nifty also nearing that day's highest point as well. But it's the bank that is taking the lead, and today as well, just before the market opened, we were actually cherished with a positive note wherein JP Morgan has announced that it would include India in its emerging markets bond index in 2024. What does it mean for the Indian markets? Let's try to decode that. And Nikunj Dalmia, managing editor, ET Now and ET Now Swadesh, discusses the ramifications of this move. So let's go across and listen into him.
The JP Morgan bond index has included Indian bonds. Now, what would be the implications and ramifications of this? First, let's understand. Very simple. That means more flow will come into the Indian bond market via global investors. If that happens, more flow means that bond yields, theoretically, they should come down. If bond yields, they theoretically come down and flows are more, that surely means the cost of borrowing in the system goes down. If the cost of the borrowing in the system goes down, it automatically will have impact on the government finances, and especially in this case, the fiscal deficit. Also, if fresh flows come into India, it will also have an impact in terms of where the rupee would move. Now, when it comes to rupee, we can argue that whether Reserve Bank of India will intervene or not, but they will certainly like to curb the volatility. But one thing is evident, that this is a big door which was shut, and that gate has opened. And when that gate has opened, flows, they come into the bond market. And the bond markets, they continue to attract this kind of inflow. The differential yield between the developed market and in the Indian market will reduce. And structurally, this will continue to bring the cost of borrowing for Government of India down. So it will have short-term, medium-term and long-term implications. Now, what we understand is that this is just one of the index, which is the big index. There are two more indices which also could, two more indices which perhaps could also be coming out with same kind of a impact. If that happens, then we are looking at flows north of $300 to $400 billion starting June 2024, which would be staggered. Markets may want to price that in the run up to the inclusion, but the bottom line here is that this is something which is path breaking, permanent, and full marks to the government in terms of the way they have really managed to convince global financial firms in this case to accept and to accept the facts and to really make and give them a very important entry point, because it involved a lot of back and forth kind of a movement. The 10-year yields have already fallen by 7 bips, and the reaction is not going to be immediate. It's going to be spread across because the inclusion will start from June 2024. But in terms of a move, in terms of an impact, in terms of a change, I think this is something which is going to have very far-reaching and very crucial and positive ramifications.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on those updates, that have come in on the bond markets, on that front with JP Morgan's one there. But on that note, viewers, we're going to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere, because after this break, we will be back and we will be taking all your stock-related queries. So start sending us your queries on the WhatsApp number that will be flashing on your screens.
Welcome back to Buy Now Sell Now, a show where we get you answers for all your stock related queries. Viewers, do remember that you can connect with us live on a WhatsApp number that will be flashing on your screen, and you can write to us on our Facebook as well as Twitter pages, and we'll try to take as many queries as possible. So without further ado, let's begin taking your queries, and let me welcome on board Kunal Bothra on the technical side and Sneha Poddar joining us on the fundamental side. Very good morning to both of you. And Sneha, my first query is coming up for you. This one is from Meenakshi from Chennai, and she wants a view on healthcare stocks, specifically Krishna Diagnostics as well as Shalby Hospitals. So what's your take? Do you track these companies, and would you be able to advise her for fresh investments in these?
In a healthcare space, we are more comfortable with names like Apollo Hospital and Max Healthcare. If we talk about Max Healthcare, the company has been it has significant land bank with them to go ahead with their brownfield expansion, and with the kind of focused approach that they have, we believe they would continue to see improved profitability per bed. Given the capex plans that they have, and given the kind of traction that we are seeing in the overall healthcare space, along with the operational efficiency that I'm talking about, so that should drive good earnings growth for the company. So even valuation wise, it's pretty comfortable. So Max Healthcare would be my best pick. Second, one can look at Apollo Hospital if one has to go ahead with another names. So in case of Apollo Hospital, they have multiple business. One is the hospital business, which is doing well with higher occupancy and better metrics per bed. Along with that, they have the online business, wherein the online medical business, which is trying to achieve a break even. So that should be achievable in next say few quarters. So even Apollo Hospital is a good bet, but my topic is Max Healthcare.
Let's move on, and Kunal, talking about two of the banking names, and one we have this query from RK, and he wants to know in terms of Bank of Maharashtra. They actually sold at 41 and they had an expectation of re-entering at 37. Now obviously we've seen those prices go up again. What is the view on Bank of Maharashtra? Should they look to enter right now, or should they just wait for some bit of a time?
So I've been bullish on PSU banking stocks, but I think specifically for Bank of Maharashtra, the stock forming a major resistance or a top at closer to 51, 51 and a half, which it I think hit 3 or 4 trading sessions back. Today the stock is back again about that, around that 44, 46 range. I think you should look to buy this on staggered dips. Maybe start off with 44, 45 as a level to start off buying Bank of Maharashtra, and then in case if the stock dips further and say comes back towards 41 mark, that could be another level where you can look to buy. So 40 approximately seems to be a major support for Bank of Maharashtra, but I'm not sure whether the with the recent pickup in the PSU banking stocks, whether there could be a meaningful correction into these names. That's why I'm suggesting a part buy at current levels and then wait out for another part maybe at lower levels.
Okay, moving on, and two counters yet again, Sneha. This question is from Dasari Radhi from Vijayawada, and he wants to buy Hindustan Oil Corporation as well as Heritage Foods at current market price. So any outlook on both of these?
Sorry, I don't have view on any of these names.
Okay. Kunal, anything on the charts? Firstly is HOEC and the other one is Heritage Foods.
So HOEC, I'll suggest to exit. I think the stock has been falling very sharply over the last 2 months from 240 levels to 160. It's formed a bearish flag on the daily charts. So it doesn't look attractive. For heritage foods also, I would probably suggest that you can look to exit maybe closer to 240 to 45. So maybe another 10 point, 15 point jump from current levels is where you can look to exit. Even this stock has gone through a selling, but the concerning point for heritage food is that selling is on much higher volumes as compared to the buying which had happened for the stock price, and that could really dent the near to medium term prospects for heritage foods. So you can keep both of the levels mentioned, and I think selling is what I would suggest for both of these stocks.
Sneha, we have Padma who wants to sell SBI Life and Mukund Industries. They're making a profit of around 15-20% on both these stocks, and look to buy something like a Kaveri Seeds and Dodla Dairy for the long term. Would that be advisable?
I would prefer SBI Life. I mean, one can actually continue to hold because now the insurance sector has actually started performing. The productivity has started improving, and with the improved efficiency, anyways, we know that the insurance sector is a structural story wherein it's hugely underpenetrated in India, and with the improved efficiency now that we are seeing, the VNB margins have started improving for these insurance companies. So SBI Life, I would suggest to actually hold on. Mukund, he can look to exit. Kaveri Seed, one can probably look at from a short-term perspective and not from a long-term perspective, because these are the cyclical stocks. Kaveri Seed, since it's present in the cotton seed sales, so this because of the commodity kind of nature, it becomes a little cyclical in nature. So with Rabi season coming ahead, one can look at entering in this stock, but then keep in mind that these should be from the short to medium term perspective and not long term perspective. And Dodla Dairy, again, because the milk prices have really gone up, so it makes sense to enter these milk companies, but then again from a short term perspective, because they don't really make a structural story from a long term perspective.
Moving on then, and Kunal, the next query is coming on Tech Mahindra. This query is from Ramesh from Delhi, and he's been writing to us for quite some time now. Finally, I could take his query. He's having 100 shares of Tech Mahindra at a price of 1,305 rupees a piece. Though the stock has been gaining, but he's not at a major profits right now. So requesting expected target for the next 3 months.
I think you should hold on to the stock, and I think I would possibly say that hold on to it not just for a 3-month perspective, but hold on to it till the time the stock comes back to its prime, of that 1800 mark which it had hit in 2021. Now, over the last many weeks and over the last couple of months specifically, I've been very bullish on the prospects of the IT stocks, and specifically the larger cap names, where I would believe that they could be at a cusp of a very strong turnaround. Prices, they tend to move first. We've seen breakouts happening for the Nifty IT index. We've seen breakouts happening for large cap names on the IT stock. So I would remain to have a bullish stance even on Tech Mahindra, and I think you should hold on to it for, as I said, not just 3 months, but look at this at least for the next 1 to 2 years. I'm of the opinion that the stock should come back to its prime and possibly even break past about the 1800 levels as well.
Keep an eye on those levels for Tech Mahindra. But on that note, viewers, we're going to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more of the stock-related queries after this break. Welcome back, and you're watching Buy Now Sell Now on ET Now. Let's keep it going with all your stock related queries. And Kunal, this one is for you, coming in from Dubai, and it's from Efiram and he's a big fan of yours, is firstly what he's saying as well. And he has 2 stocks that he wants to know on. One is on Tata Chemicals. He's 120 shares of 1,096 rupees. Price is what he's bought it at, an average price. So should they look to sell it, continue to hold? What is your view on this? As well as Bajaj Finance. They're holding 20 shares at a price of 6,667. Should they continue to hold this for a medium to long term?
So thank you so much for that. First of all, for Bajaj Finance, I'll start off with that. I'll suggest that as a whole. I think it's a stock which is shaping up quite well. It's been a very slow, gradual up move for Bajaj Finance in the last 1 or 2 months. The stock has not gone higher in terms of the intensity, but it's been a very consistent up move for Bajaj Finance, which means that the stock should continue to rise up higher, and you might have those odd phases of correction, one or 2 days in between, but then I think eventually the stock should continue to make a new high for itself. Tata Chemical, on the other hand, could be a bit of a disappointing stock because the stock has taken a lot of time. It tried to come back after a 8-9 month of a breakout of a consolidation, moved up higher. I think went up to as much as I think 1100 mark, but then from there the stock has reversed back again. I would suggest hold on to the stock as of now. Keep a trendline support for Tata Chemicals, say closer to 1000 levels. So on weekly closing basis, if the stock closes below the 1000 mark, that's where you should look to exit Tata Chemicals. Till then, hold.
Okay, moving on. And Sneha, the next query is coming in on Paraj Industries. Shiva is holding 3,000 shares at a price of 370 rupees. Wants to know good time to book profits or should he continue to hold on?
Praj is actually playing. It's a play on a very structural story which we are seeing in the sugar sector. So if he is a long-term investor, then he should definitely continue to hold on to the stock because it has a beautiful story to unfold over next 3 to 5 years. But if he has bought it from a short-term perspective, then he can definitely look to book profit. Otherwise, there's a lot of potential which is coming from the ethanol side, and the stock can really give good returns over next 3 to 5 years.
Kunal, Indu wants to know your view on Lakshmi Organics and Chemplast Sanmar. She's making a slight bit of a loss right now on this one, but should they hold or use the dips to add more for both these stocks?
So Lakshmi Organics, I will suggest to hold on, even though the stock has gone through a mild correction. I think that's the nature of the stock as well as the mid cap arena. So I believe that the two weeks of comeback for Lakshmi Organics is something which could probably sustain, and the stock may see a potential uptick back again. So it may take a couple of weeks for the stock to try and consolidate and then get over with this retracement. So I would suggest to wait out for that. For Chemplasts, also on the other hand, I think it's a very similar kind of a chart. The stock has gone through 3 weeks of correction from 550 levels to 480, 485, where the stock is trading right now. Interesting chart, inverted head and shoulder breakout already happened. In fact, you can look to even add further for the stock at current levels.
Okay, moving on. And Kunal, once again, a query specifically for you. This one is on two auto counters. Firstly, this question is from Apala Raju, and he's holding shares of M&M at a price of 744 rupees. He's holding 100 shares, and he also has 10 shares of Maruti near to that 6,500 level. So should he continue to hold on both of these names or book some profits at this point?
Well, I think congratulations, because I think you've bought both of these stocks at the cusp of their individual turnarounds in terms of charts or in terms of breakouts. I would suggest that you should hold on to both of these names, because when stocks like these get into a breakout. Now, I'll start off with M&M because that's a stock which gave a breakout in mid of 2022 previous year. And I remember, I think that from that 750 mark where the stock made a triple bottom, the stock has not looked back, and it's just gained strength after strength. So what's actually happened that the stock has now become a leader in terms of the entire auto pack. We've seen that happening for many of the sectors, that when there is a leader which gets evolved, the leader always gets the premium, and looks to be more strong and sustainable in terms of trend. I would expect same for M&M. Maruti has been a recent breakout. I think the last 1 or 2 months, the charts have changed quite positively for Maruti. Even that's a hold. My sense is the stock should break past this 11,000 mark, hopefully once the market settles off this minor volatility.
Sneha, the next query, and this one is from Subrata Mukherjee and this one is on IDFC First Bank. Now, they want to know, they bought IDFC First Bank at a price of 94 rupees per share. What is it that they should be looking out for in terms of a target for the long term, and is it a good stock to continue holding?
See, definitely IDFC First is a good stock because, post the merger with IDFC, the bank would actually emerge much stronger, and it is entering into a phase of very strong loan growth because the drag which they were facing from the wholesale book, that has really moderated a lot. So we are estimating good double-digit, more than 20% plus kind of loan CAGR over next few years, and moreover, its asset quality has tremendously improved. So it's a hold from a long-term perspective. And secondly, now they would be doing a QIP, so that would actually provide a further buying opportunity. So one can further add at if the QIP comes at a certain discount, so one can further look at adding at those levels, because this is a story of a long term play, and one can actually look at 150 kind of targets in this stock from 1 to 2 years perspective.
Okay, moving on. And Kunal, the next query is from Satya, and he says that he's a long-term investor and wants view on two counters for the next couple of years. He didn't share his buy price rather, but he wants a view on SJS Enterprise as well as Sona Comstar. So can he continue holding these names for the next 2 years maybe?
Well, I'm bullish on both of these names. SJS, I think the stock has done from 400 to some 680, 685. Very recently listed stock. The recent charts in the last 2-3 months have been very positive for the stock. So I would suggest a hold on the stock. I'm not sure of the longer term prospects because the recent chart history is limited. But the charts so far in the last 3-4 months have been very positive. So we can just expect this momentum to continue. For Sona Comstar, I think the stock is heading towards a breakout. Now, the last 2 or 3 months, it's seen a very mild recovery from 400 to 585, where the stock is trading. But the prospects could be significantly positive for the stock going forward. So both of them are a hold according to me.
Kunal, I'm going to come back to you. This query is also coming in from Nagesh from Bangalore. And this one is on Reliance October call options 1,380. They're making a loss on this. What is your advice for this right now?
So, see, I think the stock seems to be oversold on the charts. Now, that's the only point of contention for Reliance Industries, that the stock, even though it's seen a very sharp selling in the last 1 month post the listing of Jio, I think from there, from 2600 levels, the stock has fallen sharply. It says that recently the stock has come back into an oversold territory. So there could be a credible bounce which could happen to the stock price. So if you are in for the October series, I think so far you can stay put. But the only concern is that Reliance is a very low beta kind of a stock. So even if assuming the stock goes into a process of a bounce and say moves up to 2500 mark, it could be a process of maybe another 3-4 weeks for the stock price, and that may not turn out to be very well for your options long position. So you can continue to hold on as of now, but then keep a watch in case if there is any kind of an intensified rally for the stock. That's a good time very much to book profits.
Okay, that's the view coming in on Big Boy Reliance with Sneha. Want your view on Trent. This question is from V. Mathur. He's a long-term investor and he's from Delhi, and he wants a view on Trent. He's holding 95 shares at a price of 1,542 rupees, and what a phenomenal run-up this counter has already seen. So do you believe that the alpha generation as well as the up move in this particular counter will continue for the next 2 years, or is this a good time to book out some profits?
Trend he can continue to hold, because now, the festive season has just started. So again, the footfalls would start improving going ahead. So in the second half, at least, we should see the bounce back in the retail stocks. Because so far the retail stocks were under pressure because of the poor footfalls and the lackluster sales. But now, hopefully, with the festive season starting, this should again see a revival. So I would believe that the investor should hold on to the stock, and probably 6 months down the line or something, he can again reconsider of booking profit. But now the uptrend is again starting for retail stocks, so he should not exit at the current level.
Okay, on that note, viewers, we're going to sip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with one of our stock-related queries after this break. Welcome back, and you're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, and keep it going with your queries. And Kunal, this one is from Yash from Mumbai, and it's on Black Box. They have 100 shares of Black Box. That's a price of 210 rupees per share. What should they do with this? Continue to hold this, or look to sell and buy something like a Genius Power?
Don't track the stock, so I'll probably skip it.
Okay, Sneha, do you have any view on this?
Track it.
Right.
Okay, Kunal, the next query is also on a counter that we don't discuss much often, but B. Soumya has been writing almost daily. So if you could check the charts of Elite Digital Services, the stock code is ADSL. He bought the shares at a price of 120 rupees, and you're looking for a short-term target in this.
So far the stock looks attractive. It's come back towards a major support zone. 125, 128 is a strong support for ADSL. But the concern is the recent sell-off, where the stock has formed a double top. I think 154 was the top line for ADSL. That was the level the stock had in the month of July, and very recently, just a couple of weeks back, the stock made a top at those levels. So that's the concern, which means that the stock should meander into this range of 155 on the upside and then closer to 125 on the downside as a support. So if you've bought, then I think what you should ideally do is maybe closer to 125, you can go contra buy, and then midpoint of this range, say closer to 135, 140 range is where you can look to book profits out.
Sneha, the next query is coming from Pramod from Kerala. This one is on GNA Axles. They bought it, prior to the bonus at 100 shares at 560 rupees. So what should they be doing with this? Should they continue to hold this for the next 12 to 18 months? And if you're suggesting a sell, then which stock should they buy?
Okay, see, I would suggest to exit because if we look at the recent quarterly numbers, they were quite weak because their revenue largely depends upon the US and the European market, wherein, we have not seen much of the stability. So their results, indicate that the weakness might continue for some time. So it would be better to actually exit from GNA Excel. And if he wants to enter into the auto stock only, then he can look at like M&M or Maruti, which are or even Tata Motors, because these front runners are doing really well. In case of auto and probably he can look at CI Automotive. Even there we are seeing a little weakness in terms of numbers, but then at least their long-term perspective is very bright, because the kind of initiatives that the company has been taking in terms of adding new products and customers. So we believe that should really help them, help them actually recover a little faster compared to other players. And plus, it's a good play on the EV theme as well. So CI Automotive would be our pick in among the auto angs, and Tata Motors and Maruti or M&M he can look among the auto OEMs.
Okay, moving on. And Kunal, what's your view on ABB India? Jay Krishnan from Kerala wants to know any good level where he can enter this counter for a medium term.
Well, I think the major part of the rally seems to be behind ABB. I think the stock has done pretty well from 2,700 to 4,500. Now the stock is forming some sort of a distribution pattern where over the last 3-4 months the stock has stalled its rally. There was a minor breakout about that 4,500 mark, but that got sold into, and I think that's a classical sign of a potential near-term top in place for ABB. So I would suggest to wait out for another few weeks. I sense that the stock should come back towards at least 3,700 to 3,800 range. That could be a point where we look to start considering to go long.
Kunal, one more query that's coming your way. This one is from Sridhar, and they want to know on Z, how is that looking? Is it worth holding for a time period of 1 month? They have bought 100 shares at a price of 270 rupees.
See, very difficult to comment because the stock has been in the thick of a lot of news flow for itself. So if the news flow turns out to be positive, like what we saw a few weeks back or maybe a couple of months back, you saw the stock recovering from sub 200 levels to 270, 275 where the stock has been trading. So it all depends on the kind of news flow which could turn around. Very difficult to comment on this on a pure technical basis because of the way news flow surrounds the stock price. But just as a level, the stock, the 50-day moving average for the stock is I think around 255 mark. So you can probably keep that as a point where you may look to start buying and then keep a 15 to 20 point stop loss for your trade if you're looking at this as a trading play.
Okay, Sneha, the next query is coming from John from Chennai. He's a long-term investor and he has shared a whole list of his long-term picks. But let me take one amongst them, and he's holding TVS Motors 400 shares at a price of 386 rupees, having phenomenal returns in this one. So should he continue to hold on to his TVS Motors investments, or good time to book profits?
We can actually continue to hold on because the two-wheeler market has just started recovering, and with the new product launches and the recovery in export, so the future looks really bright for TVS Motor. It enjoys a lot of economies of scale and operating leverage. So I believe that the company has the potential to actually sustain good profitability going ahead as well. So he can definitely continue to hold on.
Now this next query is from Gayatri and they want to know on two stocks. One is Credit Access Grameen. They bought it at 1,381 rupees. How is that looking for the short term? Should they continue? Is it a short term or a long term play is something that they should watch out for? Another one is 50 shares of Fusion at 609. What is the outlook on this one for the short term as well?
So, Credit Access Grameen, I think you can continue to hold on. Stock has come back towards its 100-day moving average. 1300 approximately is the average for the stock price. It's at 1320, which means that the stock should find some decent support at current levels. And it's not a high beta stock. So, even from the recent high, the stock has corrected some 200 points, which means that major part of the correction seems to be behind the stock price. So maybe another 40-50 points correction, but net that this 1300 mark should hold on to the stock price over the near term. I would suggest to hold on Credit Access Grameen. Fusion on the other hand, I think it's a chart which is getting a lot more weaker. From the previous highs of 690, the stock made a lower high of 669 and now it's on the process of breaking below its crucial support. So I would suggest maybe keep a stop loss of 570 on closing basis, and if the stock closes below those levels, that's a good time to exit.
Okay, moving on, and with this, viewers, let's kickstart taking all your stock-related queries in the rapid-fire session. And Kunal, the first query is on Just Dial. Preeti is holding 500 shares at an average price of 816 rupees. So, good time to move out or continue to hold on?
I think it's a good time to exit the stock.
Sneha, we have Ravi who is holding 100 shares of Bajaj Finance at 1,900 rupees. Should they continue to hold this or maybe switch to some other NBFC or something like a Poonawalla FinCorp?
Continue to hold.
Okay, Sneha, what's your take on JSW Steel? Sridhar is holding 100 shares at a price of 780 rupees. At what price he could actually sell this?
He can continue to hold on for some time, probably at around 850 kind of levels. He can look to book profit because the company has been doing multiple phase expansion, so that should boost their overall volume growth in the near term.
Kunal, we have Yuvraj who wants to know, is it a good time to enter EMIL and Rainbow Children's at the current level?
Rainbow Children's are on track, so I'll skip that. EMIL, yes, you can look to buy at current levels of 140.
Okay, Kunal, Ganesh is holding AGI Green Pack, 50 shares at a price of 790 rupees. Good to hold for medium term?
I think, yeah, it's a good time to hold on to the stock as of now.
Sneha, we have a viewer who is holding Kansai Nerolac at a price of 336 rupees and TVS Supply Chain at 247. Should they continue to hold this for a medium term?
I would suggest exit from both the stocks.
Kunal, can Prabha hold ONGC? She recently bought 100 shares at a price of 188 rupees. So, in the next 1 month, can this counter give returns?
I think you should continue to hold on.
Kunal, Suresh Nair from Bangalore is holding RBNL, making 40% profits now. Should they continue to hold or exit?
Good time to book out profits.
Okay, the next query is from Jaya, and Kunal, she's holding Fin Cables and having around 3% profit. So can she continue to hold on? Do you track this one?
Hold on and possibly keep a target closer to 1100 if you're a short-term trader.
Okay, viewers, and with that was the last query for today. So thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Sneha, for joining in with us and solving all our viewers' stock-related queries. And viewers, it's a goodbye from Shrishti, myself, as well as the team who put this show together. Don't go anywhere. Markets and Noon will take the action forward.